is London, and I am so excited to welcome you back here to Happily Adventures After. We are so excited to have you join us for this week's edition of Hey Disney, Give Me a Review. So if you're new here or you're just looking kind of for a refresher, Hey Disney, Give Me a Review is Happily Adventures After podcast where we act as a virtual concierge to all things Disney. And we do so by giving you a review on it. So we've tried it out, we've tested it, we've actually tested probably a lot of these quite a few times, and then we give you our honest and real review on it. So Hey Disney, Give Me a Review was inspired by the Hey Disney feature at Walt Disney World, where it's that Amazon Alexa overlay, and they have them in all of the resort rooms. So just like that, acting as that virtual concierge, we are here to bring you all of the magic and bring it straight to you in podcast form. Whether you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise, or if you're just wanting to explore some of Disney's best dining, park experience, maybe some flights, road trip ideas, or anything that you really want to know about Disney, we've got you covered for a real and honest review. All right, so that's the background on Hey Disney, Giving a Review. Let's get into what we're actually here for, because today we are talking about the journey through one of the most popular and coveted dining spots within Disney Springs, and that is the Boathouse. Many people visiting Walt Disney World, whether they're local or this is their one-time vacation or once a year vacation, really do aspire to go to visit the Boathouse at least once, because this waterfront restaurant is a must-do for those who love this charming atmosphere, seafood, which is actually usually pretty great, and just a really fun ambiance. And that comes with, even though our last experience here left a bit to be desired. So let's get into it. We are going to talk about our last experience at Disney Springs for the Boathouse restaurant. I have been here a couple times. Most other times that I've had a meal here, we've had a lot better of an experience. So taking that into consideration, those were quite a while ago. I will note that they were over nearly 2 years ago. But I just want to note that it was a lot better before. We also didn't eat here at Prime Rush before. So this was kind of rush hour, dinner hour. So I wanted to note that just because it may have hindered the experience on our last time when we were eating here. To set the stage for the day, we actually had gotten into Orlando the day before, but this was kind of our, I want to call it a resort day because we tend to stay off property, so it's not that traditional Walt Disney World resort day, but it's the day that we gather when we come in all of the things we need. So whether it's food and water from a grocery store, all those little necessities that you'll need for the week that you don't technically bring with you on your flight. So we do that. We also tend to go to Disney Springs that day, just as a nice walk around. You're outside, you're enjoying the air. So that's what we did today. And we traditionally will go find a restaurant, but we wanted to eat here because we had had really great experiences before. Now, for the probably entire month, I'm not kidding, leading up to this experience, I could not get a reservation on my Disney experience. I did, however, I don't know why. Honestly, before I get into that, I have no clue why I couldn't. It just always was sold out, quote unquote, for the times that we were looking for. I did, however, about a week in advance, was able to obtain a dining reservation for around, I believe it was like 5:30, which is traditionally when we eat. I know we're early eaters, but we eat dinner. So we made sure to carve out that time for our meal. However, we went into it with really high expectations and they were not met. So I want to note that before we get into everything, just because I think it sets the stage. Oh, in this, I will also note that we booked it, then we modified the time. And during our experience at the Boathouse, so we modified it to an earlier time just because we knew, okay, it's going to be about 5:30. We're not going to actually be seated probably until 6. And then that got a little late because we were all very tired from the travel day before. So we booked the meal and we modified it, I'm saying this for a reason, on the My Disney Experience app to 4:30 in about for dinner, so that way we'd be eating around 5:30. Okay? Keep that in note as we get into this. I will also note to you that not only on My Disney Experience are you able to make reservations, but you are also able to get reservations on here, and you have more of a chance to do so on OpenTable. I realized that after about the month of trying to get reservations on My Disney Experience that I could have done it on OpenTable like you can for other restaurants, which I believe are like STK in Disney Springs. I know you can because I had done it for Summer House on the Lake. So if you are looking for a reservation, keep that in mind because sometimes they won't show up on My Disney Experience, but they will show up on OpenTable. So I highly recommend you check that out. Before we get into our actual experience, I want to give you a rundown of what the Boathouse is. So, it is an absolutely, and I'm saying this because I've been here before and I actually quite like it. It is an absolutely whimsical and fun nautical themed restaurant with excellent scenic views and a wonderful setting that promises to delight. Honestly. Now, again, we had issues with our reservations and we'll get into that and our dining experience. However, it is its own charming restaurant and it has a long wait list, like a walk-up wait list and reservations for a reason. It is very hard to get because it is a very solid choice within dining at Disney Springs. It offers an unforgettable dining experience in a picturesque waterfront setting, making it one of the most popular spots for guests seeking both great food and a relaxing atmosphere. As I said, it is very nautical themed, which is really fun, and it exudes charms that have a vintage inspired design. And it features a blend of wood accents, cozy booths, large windows, and it offers a beautiful scenic view of the lake and all of the boats around it. And I love if you're sitting by the bar or outside by the bar on that side, you can see the amphibicars, and that is so much fun. I love that. Also, one of my most fun and favorite is they have a boat car you can sit in. It's very hard to get. We were seated actually right across from it. I loved it. I thought that was so cool. However, it's very hard to get. So if you want to, ask your server politely and they may be able to arrange it, but it's very popular. So just keep that in mind. So back to the description. So sorry. Guests can enjoy the ambiance of a spacious outdoor patio, which I've sat on and in not crazy Florida heat times is really quite nice. And like I said, the amphibicars are out there and you can see all of the little duckies kind of splash in the water. As you do it, you hear, it is so beautiful to hear just the lake sounds at Disney Springs as well as the amphibicars. So it's wonderful. I think that the outdoor seating is probably nicer, and this is in normal weather, not crazy heat or a thunderstorm or anything like that. So I think that the outdoor is a better dining experience than the indoor. However, that's just my experience. As for the menu, the Boathouse boasts an excellent menu in celebration of fresh, flavorful seafood, steak, and American cuisine. And it has an emphasis on high quality ingredients with a very artistic presentation. Signature dishes include fresh oysters, lobster rolls. Those are very good. I've had those before. They're very good. And filet mignon with creamy sides of mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, French fries, and so much more. Now, if you're looking for something unique, the Boathouse also has signature boat tails, which are Sunday-style drinks that are a variety of flavors, and they're a really nice twist on a classic dessert. If you want to enjoy the Boathouse, we highly suggest that you do, because I know this review may not have the best, for instance, information on our experience. We didn't have the best experience, but I really do think it delivers both culinary excellence and an inviting, unique atmosphere that's great for just a family celebration, a fun time, and a great way to enhance a magical experience with its theming. So I think this is a must visit at least once during your Disney trip in Disney Springs, between the service that's usually pretty exceptional, beautiful setting, and the menu. But again, this experience we had that we are reviewing did not show that. However, I would highly suggest for you to check it out yourself from our descriptors and from our past experiences. I also want to note to you that the Boathouse in Disney Springs is not owned by Disney. The Boathouse in Disney Springs is actually owned by Sloan's Group, which is a family-owned restaurant company. The group is known for its success in creating unique dining experience, and the Boathouse is actually one of their premier establishments. The restaurant is operated under their leadership alongside other notable ventures in the hospitality industry. The Sloan's Group has a long-standing track record of bringing high-quality themed dining concepts to destinations such as Disney Springs and offering guests a memorable combination of excellent food, service, and atmosphere. Now, I grabbed that from the Sloan's Group website and just kind of condensed it. But why I wanted to bring it up is if you look through our reviews, I've noticed, and this is even before we started doing Happily Adventures After, I've noticed, as well as my family, that the restaurants in Disney Springs that are owned by somebody outside, so rather than Disney itself, in our opinion, don't quite measure up to the same level of food quality and excellent service that Disney has established. Now, if I'm walking into Rainforest Cafe or T-Rex, I know what I'm getting and I know what I'm going for. I am not looking for it to be the best service or the best food. I'm going because my family and I think it's fun on occasion. And we've done Rainforest Cafe since I was a kid when we went to Chicago to go to the American Girl store. I was petrified. We all would understand that when the thunderstorm came through. But I know what I'm getting into, especially going in Disney Springs or Animal Kingdom. It's just something, like I said, we know. However, other restaurants, such as this restaurant, the Boathouse, or I noticed even, oh my goodness, Summer House on the Lake, not owned by Disney. We've not had the best experiences between food quality and food service and atmosphere as we have in other Disney-owned restaurants. So I just want to point that out. I also think they have excellent unique themes and menus, but like that consistency that you're looking for in service and food quality falls short and falls apart. Like I said, I've been to the Boathouse a few times. It was excellent. This experience was not. Summer House on the Lake, the first time we went, horrible. And we're looking forward to potentially going again to redeem itself. But just giving you that idea, and we've been to many others, like I said, but giving you that idea, just because it is a bit of a mixed bag, while the iconic restaurants provide an excellent atmosphere, the dining experience may not always go the exact same way that guests know and love from Disney in our experience. So I just wanted to point that out before we got into the menu and the meat of the review so that you were aware, making your decision in the future. All right, let's get in. Now that we have all that backstory, let's get into what we ordered. So here we go. We ordered the following, and I'll give you the prices of everything, pre-tax, with sales tax, so on and so forth. First up on our order, we actually received the kids' chicken tenders with fries. Our server was impeccable and let us order this because somebody in our party didn't actually like seafood. So just noting that, they were really good. I even tasted them. They weren't mine, but they were very good. They were very flavorful, but honestly, they were a bit salty. And the batter they use is like tempura batter instead of normal chicken nugget batter or chicken tender batter. So just knowing that if you have especially a kiddo who's averse to textures and was expecting a normal chicken tender, chicken nugget-esque meal like that breading, they're not. They're tempura. They taste like tempura shrimp batter. So putting that out there, we were kind of not shocked, but we were kind of like, oh, okay. They weren't bad by any means, but you have to like the tempura taste because it comes really heavily battered in that. The fries, they were excellent. All right. So that was $13 US. We also got a wedge salad, which was $15 US. Again, it was really overall enjoyable. However, the dressing was a bit salty. The freshness of the vegetables was there, but the bacon was also salty, right? Bacon's naturally salty. So again, you're going to see a running theme on this one. We also got a Caesar salad for $12. No chicken, no nothing. Just added a Caesar salad. It was a solid Caesar. I didn't find my Caesar salad, this was mine, too salty. Okay, so that was good. We got a side of truffle fries, which was also $12 US. Their sides are big-ish, but $12 is a bit steep for a side, I will not lie. These were delicious and an absolute favorite at our table. They were crispy, well seasoned. The truffle was excellent. Well done overall. We got a side of regular mac and cheese, which was $12 again. This was a comforting, just classic. It was creamy. It had the right amount of cheese. It wasn't super salty, but it was there. Now here's where we're getting the fun. We got the Maine lobster bisque, and I say we get into the fun because I love lobster bisque, but it does not love me. My tummy did not like this whatsoever. So this one was mine, and it had great flavor. I'm going to be honest, it arrived at an odd temperature. It was very hot, but then it was cool in spots. And like, I didn't understand why it was partly warm and partly cold. Like a microwave. You know when the microwave does it? It did distract from the experience because it was like, oh, okay, this is weird. I do love lobster bisque. I have a problem just with my tummy and heavy amounts of cream. So I was going into it knowing my tummy might be upset, but it was really upset from this. And it could have been the different temperatures. I still ate it. Probably shouldn't have, but just noting that. And I don't know if I said it, but this was $9. We also got the duo chips and dip. Now these are very tasty. Again, kind of overly salty. However, it was really, really quite good. And as a note, these do contain nuts. I am allergic to nuts. I just avoided, I tasted the chips and I just went for the salsa. But everybody else who had everything else said it was excellent, and I was very sad to miss out on it. And this is $12. We also got the chili calamari, which was $19. And it was very tender and well cooked. It was a little bit actual spicy, like too spicy. This was kind of my mom's. It's a shareable, meal. However, my mom just got it. My mom really likes calamari and I tasted it. Remembering we had somebody in our party who did not like seafood. It was too spicy and we both love spice. It was just a little too much. So again, distracting from that overall experience. And lastly, for dessert, we got the caramel apple bread pudding for $10. This was disappointing. Sadly, it was my mom's birthday when we went, and my mom has been looking forward to bread pudding over and over and over. This was disappointing because it was so sugary she couldn't eat it. Compared to previous visits, she was again disappointed because it wasn't as sugary. The texture was good. It was a bit just for a dessert and really put a damper on the meal. And just kind of to end it because it was so much of a highlight and you were looking forward to it. So to have it be that sugary that it was unedible, that was kind of a damper there. All right, what are our calculations? So pre-tax, all of this totaled $114 USD. Adding the 7% sales tax that is in Walt Disney World area, that brings it to an additional $7.98. So the total with tax was $121.98. We drank waters. We bring our own bottled water because Florida water upsets our tummies. Gonna be honest. So we are Canadian here at Happily Adventures After. So we have to convert everything to Canadian when we either do get cash or use our credit cards or debit cards. So luckily the exchange rate, I say luckily, this exchange rate is very high still, but it was lower than it has been in the past. So it was at a 1.38 exchange rate when we went. So that converts to $168.33 Canadian. That was expensive. For all of this, I will say that is very expensive for what we got. I know seafood is expensive. I know you're paying for theming. However, again, it was an expensive meal, especially when you convert it to Canadian dollars. Now, as a note, this is a table service restaurant, which if you have an annual pass discount, gets you a 10% discount. Sometimes they run promotions, but right now when we went, it was a 10% discount. So that 10% discount would have dropped $11.40 from our total US. So that would have brought the discounted price with tax, without tax, my apologies, to $102.60. I am saying this as a note. We did not get our annual pass discount despite noting that we had an annual pass and showing it. Okay? So that's not what we paid. We didn't pay the discounted rate. We paid the $121.98 with taxes. So just pointing that out before we get into everything. All right, let's get into our overall experience. As I've said many times, this was not our first visit to the Boathouse, but it definitely was our worst experience we have had as a whole. And these same people, give or take, were at all of the different Boathouse experiences, so collectively we were disappointed. While we've enjoyed dining here in the past, this visit left a lot to be desired. From reservation issues, which I'm gonna get into in a second, to the long wait, again, getting into that in a second, to the overly salty food, to an uncomfortable pressure to leave a Yelp review, it was clear that the quality and service that we had come to expect from our previous experience at the Boathouse just wasn't there this time. Despite our previous visits being much more pleasant, this one certainly made us reconsider coming back in the future. Our experience at the Boathouse in Disney Springs, again, really was not the most pleasant. When we arrived, we were informed that our reservation actually was double booked. So when I modified it, and this is a PSA to everyone, take screenshots of what you're doing. So take screenshots of your My Disney Experience app when you book it, when you modify it, so that you have a reservation number. In case the app crashes, you also have proof and backup of something like this. So to make matters worse, our original reservation would get marked. So we booked it earlier, remember? I think it was at, let's say 5:30. We ended up going around 4:30 and I made that modification. We ended up being told that because we had modified it and it was for a later time, they marked us as no-shows and charged my credit card the $10 no-show fee per person. Now, I have made reservations and modified them in the My Disney Experience app countless times. I had maybe modified it by that hour, but because they checked us in, they were like, oh yeah, you're going to automatically be a no-show, you're double booked, so that $10 per person fee is going to show up. And I said, yeah, that's not going to happen. Here's the screen of My Disney Experience. Here's our original reservation. You can see that I took screenshots of the entire process where we modified the time, and here's the confirmation. You can see on the My Disney Experience app, we no longer have this. We had to go ask for a manager to step in to get this cleared because they were going to tell us that no, we had 2 reservations. You only clearly have 1 party, so we're going to charge you for that anyways, even though it was a modification. So we got that cleared up. Once a manager stepped in and did override and told us, well, we need to be more careful next time. I was like, okay, thanks so much. Thanks, I have screenshot proof. We modified, didn't do anything. The manager corrected the issue. However, the frustration did not end there. I was not charged the $10. They reversed it. It was pending on my credit card and then it never ended up going through. So that was good. But we were told by the manager to stand in this spot because we had checked in. They would call us. We stood there for 30 minutes, I am not kidding, and watched people who were behind us, people who walked up, watched them walk by. And we kept asking servers to say, excuse me, are we going to get called? These people were after us. They'll be like, yeah, I'm sure you're next. They said, just stand to the right and somebody will be with you. All right, I'm not kidding. We waited 30 minutes until we got to another staff member who then said, yeah, you needed to come check in with me. We were not told that. We had said, and we spoke to multiple staff members who said somebody would be with us shortly. This staff member who said, well, it's our fault we didn't get seen because we didn't check in, even though we stood there, talked to the manager, and the manager said, yes, they will be with you shortly, and pointed to the right person. Look, that experience in itself was kind of wild between the double reservation, then being charged no-show, saying that was my fault, as well as saying that we needed to stand there for basically 30 minutes to be ignored. It was very off-putting. Okay, so just in that, I kind of gave you our review of the food. It was overall pretty good, but it was very salty. And in all honesty, when we got and sat down, where we were sitting was very nice. We got a view, like I said, of the, I call it the boat car, because you're at the boathouse, so it's a boat. You can eat inside a boat, but it's like the car. I don't know why I call it that, but just work with me here. We sat down, we ordered right away because we knew what we wanted, seeing as we had been here before. We told our server that. We got our drinks ready. Our food, I'm not kidding, took an hour. But as a side note, those bread rolls that they kept bringing out, those were phenomenal. Oh, you need to stock up on those. The bread rolls with the butter, ooh, those are absolutely phenomenal. Please, again, stock up on those. But our food that we ordered took, and we didn't do it in shifts, we didn't do anything because we ordered some appetizers as our meal. It took about an hour, which was unreasonably long. And even though we were only around 4 p.m., it wasn't a busy night. It did seem to be like a local homecoming though for high schoolers. I don't know, that because we saw quite a few walking around Disney Springs. It was really sweet and they were all dressed up. Look, I'm just saying, when the food arrived an hour later from when we sat down and ordered it, it was underwhelming at best. Being overly salty, it wasn't what we hoped for. Our server was very polite but was nowhere to often be found. and the overall experience left much to be desired. Now, even more fun. When it was time to pay, the server handed me the bill, just because I was just there. The other members of our party just stepped away for a second. We were there like 2 hours, so it's like 6:30 going to 7 by the time we left, and got the bill from about a 4 o'clock reservation, 4:30, sorry. The other members had stepped outside just to get some air because it got loud, as well as use the washroom. The server handed me the bill. No big deal. I'd mentioned I'm an annual pass holder when we got there, when we got our food. Handed me the bill, no annual pass discount to be found, and then proceeded to tell me I needed to leave a Yelp review. He needed to watch me scan the QR code to start the process of leaving that Yelp review, and it needed to be done by the time he returned with my credit card. Needless to say, I'm going to be honest, I'm that person that refuses to follow up on that request, only because I just thought it was completely unnecessary that you had to stand over me and put a time limit, plus you caused me a lot of issues, and like, not him himself, but the restaurant caused a lot of issues. So I just wanted to know, like, no, I'm not doing this right this moment. So between the reservation mix-up, the long wait, the lackluster food, the no annual pass discount despite having it on there, and unusual pressure to leave an online review, it was very disappointing, and we just all wanted to get out of there as fast as we can. So just as a note, I didn't like it. I didn't like that experience, and we're hoping that it is much more enjoyable when we go back, because it was very enjoyable before. We had very high hopes, as I've said many times, and it just didn't meet it this time. So we're hoping it was a one-off and a fluke, but I did want to share it with you. Let's get into the pros and cons of the Boathouse at Disney Springs now that you know about the description, the atmosphere, and our experience on this particular occasion. So here we go. Pros. It has excellently scenic views. It offers a beautiful view of the lake and the iconic amphibicars, and it creates a very relaxed, picturesque dining experience that is incredibly unique. Which leads into number 2, which is the unique theming. The nautical decor is charming and immersive, and it makes it very fun and unique to dine here with that vintage maritime feel, so it really gives you memories, especially for those people who enjoy it. I think another pro is the outdoor seating, because the spacious patio on a day, as I said, well, it's not blistering heat or raining or thundering or anything like that. And the dock are beautiful, and it's a great option for dining, especially those who enjoy the outdoors. So I would highly recommend you do that. There is a wide variety of menu items, not just seafood, but also other American fares. So I think that this range would really cater to diverse tastes. And lastly, overall, I am not including this experience. Overall, the majority of times we've been here has really great service, and the servers are generally very polite and attentive and provide very friendly service during our meals, and they come back, they make sure you're doing well. So I'm using that as an overall, though it didn't happen to us. I think that overall it's excellent there. Now, cons. There's always pros and cons to everything. So what are our cons? Well, reservation issues. That one takes the cake on this one. This last visit, because they had, in the instance of, quote, being double booked, confusion on the reservation. So it was really frustrating, especially after saying it was our fault. So my theory is if it did it to us once, it'll do it to somebody else. So just be on the lookout to that. Long wait times are also another con. Despite it being non-peak hours, we waited for a table having a reservation, which was unexpectedly long, with no clear communication about staff of who to speak to and the process there. So just anticipate that even if you have a reservation, it could be quite long. Another con is overly salty food. Again, this kind of was exhibited in our last experience. However, it wasn't in the past. So there's about 2 years difference again from the last time we had made that trip to the Boathouse. They could have amped up the salt. We don't know. So some dishes are very salty, as we had said, so it did impact the overall taste of the meal. However, I'm not a person who likes a ton of salt. Just noting that. Another con that we had, especially on our last experience, was the pressure for reviews. Now, as I said, I was requested to leave an online review on Yelp at that very moment to get basically my credit card back. And it was supposed to be a positive review. It was very awkward and uncomfortable, especially after the reservation mix-up and the food that we had. The dining experience wasn't great, and I was like, I don't think you want me to leave a review, buddy. So, just saying that, I did see that on quite a few tables that were around us. So the table that was beside us, they had a different server than we did. They got their meal and left, and then another couple came in. I saw a couple families around us. They all had the same thing, because I could overhear during that time that please leave a review on Yelp, just because I became more attentive to it, especially sitting alone while you're waiting for the other people in your party. So that seemed like it was something they were doing. Just pointing that out. And lastly, inconsistent quality is a con. So the quality of the restaurant has excellent reputation, but the food quality isn't quite there all of the time. And again, I think that is if the restaurant is owned by a third party group. I've noticed that it's very inconsistent. However, some people say the other way and say Disney's more inconsistent. So to each their own, but especially on busier high traffic days. Now, we have had better experience on busy times with like busy times of the year and busy meal times. We had much better experiences here. So it could just be a day, but it is still inconsistent. All right, so that was it. Those are the pros and cons. What do you think? Do you have any pros and cons? Please share them with us. Overall rating, what would Hey Disney give me a review based on this information? If you plugged it in, it was literally like, hey Disney, give me a review on this. Based on the information we just gave you, what would it give? Well, I know here at Happily Adventures After, we gave this experience alone a 2 out of 5. Now, our issue with it being a 2 out of 5, that 40%, so basically if this was a test, it didn't even pass. The reservation issues, the long wait, the rudeness from staff, the inconsistency, the overly salty food, the annual pass discount that wasn't applied, and the pressure to leave a Yelp review made it a very unenjoyable experience, especially when we hoped for it. And to make matters worse, having all of that and waiting, having basically like a 3-hour dining experience that wasn't slated for a 3-hour dining experience was very frustrating. We actually had wanted to see a Disney Springs kind of like a show, the live entertainment, and one of them was around 7:30. We missed it. So we had to wait basically until 8:30 to get that show. And we were all so tired. So it was very disappointing, especially compared to what we had in the past. Now, normally I would rate the Boathouse about a 3.5, 4 out of 5, because the atmosphere is fantastic and the food is undeniably good in the past. And the service honestly was really great up until this point. But unfortunately, this last time, which we are doing the review, it really didn't live up to those standards, and it felt very much of a letdown and reconsidering whether we returned. Okay, so that's it. Our visit and review to the Boathouse has come to an end. But based on this review alone, would you dine at the Boathouse? Have you ever gone to the Boathouse? Did you like it? Was your experience the same or different than ours? Now, it's a really tough call to say if we would go back, as I said, because the setting and the atmosphere is great, but I don't want overly salty food and I don't want to pay over $150 Canadian when we get that credit card exchange back for something where we didn't have a great time and nobody was really willing to help and go out of their way. Hey, you missed my annual pass discount kind of thing. Honestly, the $10 really wasn't killing me, but you know what I mean? Just that, or the hour wait for food, the stand over here, no, this is your fault. All of that just accumulated to say, I don't know if we would go back. If it was based on our previous visits alone, we sure would. Based on this one, yeah, no. But the nautical themes, the scenic views make a really great potential for a great meal. So I hope that you would actually consider going because I'm hoping that this was a one-off and we wouldn't have this experience again. But again, what do you think? What was your experience like if you've gone to the Boathouse? I would really love to hear your experience and your thoughts in the comments because that's what keeps this magic alive. Please continue to follow us here on our podcast for either Hey Disney, Give Me a Review or Hey Disney Top 10. Please check out our blog, which is happily-adventuresafter.com, and follow us over on Instagram at happily-adventuresafter. Join in that conversation. Keep up with us because we have so many more great reviews, top 10s, and so many more fun little things that we have in store. Well, that's it for this week's Hey Disney, Give Me a Review on the Boathouse. I hope you enjoyed it, and we cannot wait to share more experiences with you next week. My name's London, and I hope you have an amazing and blessed day. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.